Hello, I'm John from Volkswagen. I'm passionate about solar power, saving money on energy bills, and exploring ways to help our beautiful planet. So the last method is to use optimizers. An optimizer is a box of electronics that sits behind every panel. And it connects to a brain, a small device anywhere in the property, which can then control each panel individually. You still need an inverter, as with the first method, the string inverter, but you get the same benefits, very similar benefits to those of the microinverter in this case. This is best explained by returning to the sketch. Now, in the case of an optimized system, we have an optimizer behind every panel, which is similar, and they actually control the DC from each panel and pass it through to the next panel. And at the same time, they have the ability to bypass a panel should they need to. So the cabling is a little bit simplified on this diagram, but the point is that with an optimized system, each panel can be monitored and controlled individually. All of this cabling, however, is still DC, as it was with a string inverter system. So we still have DC cables running up to the roof, between all of the panels, and back down to the inverter. We still have a return path of this DC cable going to the inverter, but the inverter just has some extra brains now that can optimize all of the panels individually, because they can communicate over this DC cable to these computers behind every panel. So this is an optimized system. So revisiting those disadvantages of a string inverter, we don't have them with an optimized system. So the first one, where we have a single point of failure, where we said we could lose a panel, makes no difference to an optimized system, because it can bypass this panel. It can recognize there's a problem, bypass it, so the rest of them will carry on working. So the same advantage there. So the second disadvantage of the string inverter system was what I described as the weakest link. And so here with the optimizers, if we have a particular panel that is impacted and it's reduced, let's say it's getting lots of heavy shading, then the optimizers can report what's going on to the brains in the inverter, and the inverter can make a decision about, should I bypass this panel? And if it bypasses the panel, then of course the others continue to work at their optimal performance rather than being brought down to this level. So in my opinion, that's not quite as good as with a microinverter, but it's far superior to the string inverter. The last disadvantage was that of monitoring, and you can already see here that in the case of an optimized system, we get full monitoring too. We can monitor these down to the individual panel level. So that disadvantage has gone away. That's the end of this summary of the three different methods. One final thing to say on the last two methods, being microinverters and optimizers, still shown on the screen here, is even though they have those advantages, those benefits, the disadvantage is they actually cost more to install up front. So the first time installation cost is higher. It's higher because you've got extra equipment to buy, extra computers to buy to put behind every panel, whether that's an optimizer or a microinverter, and there's extra cabling to do, so the install time takes longer. So this will drive up the cost compared with a lower cost string inverter system. So the last thing to keep in mind is string inverters tend to have shorter warranties than the other methods, and so if you were to think about the lifetime of the product, of the installed system, 25-30 years. If you had to replace a string inverter once or twice, or whatever the frequency might be, depending on its warranty period, then the prices could start to equalize. So it all depends. It ultimately comes down to budget at time of installation. If there's interest in seeing a video on shading, I could create that separately. It's related to this whole space. Let me know. That's the end of this series. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, have a look at other videos in the channel, and as always, any ideas for topics you'd like to see other videos on, let me know.